Good morning and welcome to It's Your Life, Own It. My name is Marisa Bludorn and I am your host. I'm the editor in chief of Own It Magazine and Publishing. And we are here today to talk to you about It's Your Life, Own It. Owning your life completely in every area and every aspect. This month we're focusing on the heart. It's the month of February, and we're really excited about just sharing a wealth of information to navigate through, health things with your heart, mental things with your heart, emotional things with your heart. And women, I want to share with you today, I'm wearing red and awareness for women and our hearts. According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, 60 million women, 44% in the United States, are living with some form of heart disease. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for women in the United States and can affect women at age. So this is not an age restricted thing. All of us need to be paying attention, women. In 2021, it was responsible for the deaths of 310,661 women, or about one in every five females' deaths. Research has shown that only about a half, 56% of US women recognize that heart disease is their number one killer. Knowing the facts about heart disease as well as the signs, symptoms, and risk factors can help you take steps to protect your health and seek proper treatment if you need it. A lot of times we talk about women, we talk about stress levels for women, but we don't associate it with heart disease. And so these stats are very, very alarming. And we really just wanted to bring some attention to that, that we don't pass through the month of love and we don't focus on self care, self love, and don't bring these stats to you so that you are fully aware of women and men, because men, these are your women, these are your moms, your aunties, your grandma. These are your women, and we want to make sure that we help them live healthy, fulfilling lives. Well, again, this is It's Your Life, Own It, and taking center stage and owning it with me this morning is Teresa Palmer, my girl Tiffany Para, Jeff Berger, Dr. Reed is in the house, Nathaniel Ross. Oh my God, we got a full house this morning. My girl Lulu Brown, Sabine, we are all in the house. Thank you so very much for joining me this morning. I'm so excited. It feels always so good to have a full house. And we're focusing on the heart, people. We are focusing on the heart. We are looking at that, and we want to encourage people today, educate them, and inform them, and equip them. And so, Teresa, in Own It magazine this month of February, you're not only looking at the heart, but you're looking at the heart and mind combination. So share a little bit, introduce yourself to the audience, and share a little bit about your thoughts, your input on the heart.
Sure, I'd love to. First off, to everyone, Happy Heart Month. It's February, and one of the most important things that we overlook with our heart is if you heard Marissa's introduction, we talked about heart disease. We talked about things that go wrong with the heart that causes problems. And although that's important, it's even more important to take note and to really be aware of your heart on a daily basis. And the reason I say that is twofold. One is your heartbeat is your rhythm of your life. It's what gives you life. It's what connects you to your life. And the second thing is our heart is our greatest ally against stress because our heart connects directly to the vagus nerve. And there's been a lot of talk about the vagus nerve. It runs from the stomach, it runs through the heart, and it goes all the way up to the head. So when you connect to the vagus nerve, you connect to the inner peace and calm. And in doing so, you turn off the stress hormones. And that's where this connection between the heart and mind comes in, because the messages a lot of times that we send to the brain are those of stress, anxiety. I have this to do. I don't, I'm worried about this. We have all kinds of things that get us concerned, not so much about our health, but about what's going on with us in a daily life. So if we could look at our heart as our ally and our partner in health, then we're ahead of the game. I'm not saying that you'll not have any illness or disease. What I'm saying is if you look at the medical, a lot of the research that's been done, it shows that stress is responsible, or I should say, a contributing factor to about 70% of illness. And one of the things that it's a contributing factor for is heart disease. So if you think of your heart as being your ally and your partner, and understanding your heart, connecting to your heartbeat, which just place your hand over your heart and feel that beat of life, that pulsation going through you. And the second thing is spending time alone with yourself to really listen to what our heart has to say. Because as children, our heart is what guided us. It's our intuition, it's the seat of our soul. It connects us to a higher source, and it doesn't matter what you call that source, there is something higher than we are. And it's also the seat of our emotions, it's where we process our emotions. So as children, we lived from our heart. Then we got conditioned to think with our mind and our head. And we kind of forgot about the heart. And that voice that's in our heart got softer and softer and softer until we didn't hear it anymore. And it's time as adults that we reconnect to that voice, because the voice in our heart is the most important voice that you'll ever hear, because it's actually you. So that is my advice to people, is to really start to listen to your heart. Go back to, it's like going back to when you were a child. You were carefree, you listened to your heart, you weren't worried about everything. We could do the same things as adults if we connect, listen to our heart, and utilize our heart as our strength, our ally against stress and anxiety.
Yeah, well, listen, if we don't get to learn the Vegas nerve with with Teresa, because we hear it all the time, over and over again, how important this nerve is that goes through through the body. And so bottom goes through the body. What you're tapping on is something that's very critical when we're talking about heart disease, and we're talking about women, and we're talking about stress levels, because we do that. We disconnect from the heart and we get into the head, and we've allowed ourselves to be conditioned by society that talks about, they, it's always, don't be emotional. She's so emotional. But that's why they did a whole practice on emotional intelligence, because there's no way that we can go through a day without having emotions. We are all emotional, men and women. So I always like to kill that between men are this and women are that. There are some differences, but we all have emotions. We all have care. We all have concerns. We all have responses to how life, throws whatever it throws in our direction. And it's so important for us, as we talk about it's your life, own it. This is one of the most critical things, is owning those boundaries, so that you can go through that process that's absolutely 100% necessary for you to navigate through stress, anxiety, and all of those emotions. And I love how you said it again, Teresa, because I'm big on me time. I had someone, I went out to dinner yesterday with a good friend of mine, and she says, Marisa, you just work so much. I said, no, you don't understand. My way of relaxing is not your way of relaxing, or the way that you assume should be relaxing. My time of relaxing is anyone around me. When I don't have no one pulling from me, I don't have to think. In my pastime, although I read a lot, it's not reading, it's watching a movie. I love to veg and watch, put some chill out clothes on, get in my bed, lay on my couch, whatever, and just not think for a minute, not manage anything for a minute. That's why, listen, at this year, I'll be 56. I'll be 56. There's a reason why I look the way I look. That handle as much as I handle because I understand my boundaries. I'm not going to sit in front of you teaching you something that I don't practice myself. Self time, me time is important. It's important and it's not selfish because it gives us the time to, debrief ourselves and disconnect so that we can get filled up enough so that when we come back to you and we come back to the world, we're not operating in deficit, we're operating in overflow. And that's how you get other. And so we're going right into the right place at the right time. And look, what is it? Live Eden, because that's how I am able to make it through my workouts, my day without having to nap all the time. I still take naps here and there, but not nap all the time. And so as I digress, I'm passing the mic over to my girl Tiff, who she is the fitness, and she's going to talk about heart disease and physical fitness is very important. I was talking the other day, and he's like, I'm on the treadmill. I got to get on the treadmill because I got to rebuild my stamina because he's in his 60s. And so we got to keep that body moving so that we keep that heart pumping. So Tiffany, talk to the audience. What's on your mind about the heart?
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for having me again, Marisa. Hello, everyone. So movement is medicine, everyone. Okay. Again, I am the fitness queen. Just, let's talk about the heart. Okay. So you have to get moving. We stay stagnant. I was in a job for years and years sitting behind a desk and my heart was hurting and I didn't even know it. So we need to get up and just get moving, even if it's 15, 20 minutes of on the treadmill. Marisa, you mentioned that. Or just, okay, let's go up and down the stairs when you're at work. If there's an elevator, don't take the elevator. Let's just move our bodies because that's going to pump that blood through and that's going to help us to not age the way people are. There are people out there that have a lot of weight on them. There are people out there. I looked at a person the other day in the grocery store and she says, I just turned 65 and my mother just turned 80. My mother looked younger than her, but let me tell you a little bit about my mother at 80. This woman walks 5 miles a day, every day. She stays consistent because she knows that her heart needs it. If she does not do it, she now is so conditioned, she feels sick. She feels almost lethargic where she has to just keep moving. So you need to get your body to that point and you need to listen to it. I was having so many different symptoms because I was being stagnant. The blood pressure was going up. It is the silent killer. I didn't even know. My feet were swelling a little bit, my putting on the shoes, things like that. They're a little tight. Oh, no big deal. I'm getting headaches, things like that. Oh, no big deal. Those are a big deal because those are things that can take you out. So what you want to do is you want to, as Marisa just mentioned, live Eden. You want to put the supplements in your body that are going to help that heart to thrive. When you look around today, I mean, our food is not, it's nothing. I mean, Jeffrey can attest to this as well. Our food is crap. Okay, so we have to put in supplements somewhere. So you want to find something that has all of the vitamins, all of the minerals, the proteins, all the things that your body needs so that, again, that heart can thrive. There's other things that you can do to bring that stress level down. Breath work. We forget to breathe, everybody. We forget to breathe. Now, all you have to, I want you just for a minute. Can everybody just take a moment? Just take a moment to just take a breath with me. We're going to just do just 2 breaths. We're going to breathe in through our nose, hold, and then we're going to breathe it out through the mouth. Let's go. Breathe in. And out. Again. And out. Now, I'm I'm so tapped in. I felt my heart rate go down. Did any of you feel your heart rate go down? Did you feel you just kind of calm a little bit? Those are the things that we need to do. EFT tapping. We have tapping points all around our body. We have these acupressure points that are magical. And when we tap into them, it brings that stress level down. It taps into our chakra system, which we have a chakra that is for the heart. So let's focus on tapping. And if any of this stuff that I'm talking about, if you've never heard of it, reach out to me. I would love to have a session with you. And you know what? I'll give it to you for free. So it's just being conscious and aware of your body. When you're moving through the day, we are anxious. We're like this all the time. We're vibrating like this and we don't even realize it. So we can just take that breath, listen to the heart, and you're just going to be okay. So thank you again, Marisa, for having me. And that's all I got.
Oh, that is so good. I can't wait, because when we do our one-on-ones, Tiff, we got to do the tapping. So in our one-on-ones, we got to show the audience the tapping. It's incredible. And listen, this is all about self-awareness. Self-awareness should lead you to self-development. Self-development is just getting better with yourself every day, trying to do something better. Not being perfect, but just trying to be better, and more conscious of yourself. Then self-awareness should lead to self-development. Self-development should lead to self-mastery. At some point, you should be consistent, committed, and you should be seeing results. That's mastery. And so I'm going to move over to Jeff, which is he's going to talk to you about some stuff, because Jeff talks to you about a holistic approach. So Jeff, talk to us.
Thanks, Marisa, and it's great to be here again today. So yeah, my holistic journey started in 2018. I was a total mess, and really being led down a path to early death because of diabetes, heart disease, overweightness, and other contributing diseases from the 5 medications that I was on. But I want to expand a little bit with what Teresa and Tiffany, the value that they shared today, because it is so important. My journey started learning about the microbiome, and the microbiome is really it's 3 brains: your gut, your brain, and your heart. And when you know that you can optimize your gut-brain axis, this helps improve mood, support mental sharpness, and enhances stress resilience. So I want you to, the panelists here today and those who are watching, I want you to close your eyes and take your right hand and put it at the top of your head. And this is your mind. It's your thinking brain. And think about logical, analytical, rational, theoretical. Now, put your right hand on your belly. Your gut is your sensing brain, instinctual, reactive, visceral, and intuitive. Now put your right hand over your heart. This is your feeling brain. It's emotional, artistic, passionate, and visionary. And these 3 brains are connected, as Teresa said, through the vagus nerve, which is the axis. It's the communication network. And in that communication network, you have biochemicals, cells, and nerves. And all of those talk between the gut, the brain, and the heart. And this is so important to today's health, because we are realizing that what is out there today is not truly getting to a point of healing the body temple. And the body temple was meant to, as Tiffany said, our foods are garbage. They're filled with chemicals. They're filled with plastics. They're filled with all kinds of garbage that are not a requirement that the good Lord, developed this amazing mechanism that we have that requires specific nutrition, and we're not feeding that nutrition, which is the body with the nutrition, which ends up with disease and everything that's going on today. So it's really about preventative. We want people to be aware about preventative. I followed the rules and the regulations by my doctors, who said you have to control everything with medicine, with pharmaceuticals, and that is incorrect. Now, I always say this, I'm not totally against medicine. It has its time and place. When I am passing a kidney stone, give me that morphine because I don't want to go through that pain, but I didn't need metformin for 25 years. Learning about this, learning about the right foods to feed your body, Temple, allowed me to come off of 5 medications and get into the best health that I'm in today, which I'm still working on it. It's a lifestyle change. I'm going to be 70 this year. And this is something that I made a decision. I need to be the CEO of my own body and be the CEO of everything about myself, which I was not. I was relying on this person for that area, this person for that area, that person for that area. And Nathaniel talks about being the CEO and taking control and being aware. And this is something that's very important for all of us in regards to our own health. We want to be preventative. Tiffany talks about the right supplementation. Yes, the right supplementation that's science-backed, clinical trial, and plant-based. There's so much supplementation out there that is filled with garbage and chemicals. And Marisa, you said that men are emotional. You're damn right. And real men cry. So, and that's a reality. You don't have to be, the big tough guy and keep those emotions in, because that raises your cortisol levels and brings on more stress. So you have to get those emotions out. You have to share it. You have to talk about it. So with that, healthy gut, healthy mind. As Teresa's talking about the mind and the heart, so healthy gut, healthy mind, healthy gut, healthy heart. And, I'm just happy to say that my last doctor's check, he said, everything is you're in the best condition you've been in over 30 years. So keep doing what you're doing. So that's really good news. And that's what I'm going to do. And thank you for letting me, share this today, because I'm really passionate. It's taken me from that holistic mental fitness into financial fitness is a path to true wealth today. Thank you.
Yeah. And so anyway, I know that, Jeff, you're going to tell the folks, as we close out, how to get in touch with you and connect with you, because that holistic approach is important, because, all of it matters at the end of the day. Your health, your wealth, all of that matters, because when your bank account is right, your anxiety is low. Something's got it. When your health is right, your anxiety is low. You're not worried. All of those things take away the anxiety, or at least lessens it to a point where you can really, really enjoy your life. We're always going to have a little bit of nervousness, where that's natural. But what we're saying is that you need to do some things that are within your control and within your reach, to make sure that you're living a quality life, a holistic quality life. Listen, this woman needs no introduction. Dr. Reed, go ahead, because I already know you're sitting there off your chair, ready to share. Take yourself off mute.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It is an honor to be here with you. And I just feel so excited because you guys just set me up, right? I'm listening to what you're talking about. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I got all that. So I am a doctor of naturopathic medicine and a wellness coach. And my specialty is working with women over 40, because that is a population of women where just when we think that everything that goes bump in the night is about menopause, that's what they want to tell you. It's an accumulation of a misalignment of you not being connected spiritually, emotionally, and physically. So if I were to piggyback on what Teresa said, women, we have an accumulation of hurt and disappointment, and it turns into stress cardiomyopathy. Stress cardiomyopathy literally is broken heart syndrome. So every time you brush things off and I'm good. The truth is you're storing all of that energy in your body. Here's a long word for you. It's called psychoneural immunology. And what that means is, even though you're not expressing emotionally what happened to you, your cells remember, especially your heart. So when you have a heart problem, you may not realize that you have a grief problem and you have an anger problem. And so when I work with women to help them process getting to their best life, I help them understand that in order for you to be well, you don't necessarily only have to look at the physiology. You have to look at your spirit, man, what you're feeling. What are you doing about those shadow moments? Or have you been into the dark night of the soul? These things will absolutely affect your gut, and they will absolutely affect what you think and how you feel. Now, moving helps dissipate that energy. I remember my undergrad is exercise physiology. So Tiff, I completely hear you. And I used to be the step queen. I taught step classes like forever doing cardiac rehab, right? So I understand that process. But movement is all about being in flow with allowing yourself to have these emotions just flow through you as opposed to stopping them. Don't stop them. Let them flow through you so you can process them. Good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, you have to process them. The problem is we're taught to suppress them. And like Teresa said, if we suppress long enough, we are unable to hear the voice of God giving us clues. It becomes a muffled sound of incoherence, right? And so the incoherence is, Jeff, the gut, the brain, and the stomach. There's incoherence, and then your heart is really going to have some problems. Now, when you look at nutrition, nutrition is extremely important, but I caution everybody to take nutrition efficiently and effectively. And the truth is, unless you get an assessment, you don't know what good nutrition or what minerals are good for you. And so that's why I do hair tissue analysis. So instead of looking at your blood, which is very transient, I send hair to the lab and I can see if there's an imbalance of sodium potassium ratios, which absolutely governs the heart rhythm. Whether you have a calcium magnesium imbalance will have an effect on your heart, right? But also when women are puffy, Tiff, you talked on this. When women are puffy, that is number one, a stress response, right? Because the adrenal gland engages, it pumps out salt. Your adrenal gland also wants to take the water out of your cells to dilute the salt. And that's where that puffiness comes from. So women, if you're puffy, that's a prime indication that you're in a stress response. And if it's affecting the lungs and all of a sudden you have some coughing going on, you absolutely need to check your heart, because you might be floating into congestive heart failure without even realizing it. So these things are really important. You have to know your body, know the symptoms, understand them, but also realize that your physiology is trying to speak to you. It's telling you that there's a misalignment between your brain and your spirit, right? When you collapse those two together, your body will stop signaling. So if you have a symptom, I caution you not to only try to what I call, I use the triangle of wellness, of understanding of your problems. And the right side of the triangle is external influence. That external influence creates your foundation. That foundation is your internal chatter. And that internal chatter on the left side represents your pseudo knowledge. And that's the knowledge that you think you know, but you really don't know. You're just parroting information that you've heard. So in order to get the truth about what's happening with you, you have to connect the dots with all of it. Don't be afraid to ask yourself, what is this about? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? What am I feeling? And as you ask those questions, scripture says you have not because you ask not. When you ask those questions, your spirit that Teresa talked about that's very quiet becomes a little bit louder, and it'll tell you you're angry because blah, 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 blah. And you know what? You've been angry for the past 15 years. And as a matter of fact, you've been angry since you was 9. Right? As you start asking those questions and getting to the root cause, you'll start being able to see a picture of how you as an individual are not just a diagnosis of your heart, but you're a spirit, a mind, and a body. So I admonished women to get a handle of their thoughts and ask yourself, where did I get this from? Because a lot of your thoughts aren't even yours. You've just adopted them in pseudo knowledge. Why am I feeling this way? Some of those feelings may not be yours. You pick up other people's energy and vibration, and that also contributes to how you feel internally and how you present to the world. Whether you're nervous Nancy, whether you're angry Angie, whatever emotion you're feeling, you have to check and see where is this coming from. I ask those questions because everybody's telling their age, and women don't usually do that. I proudly say, this month is my month. I will be around the sun 57 times. And so I understand that there is an importance to this integration of spirit, mind, and body, especially women in my age bracket, our age bracket, because we are the ones that have the most trauma, that we hold it in. We have the most disappointment. We dismiss it. We have the most sense of regret, guilt, and shame. And all of those things culminate around this time of your age bracket. So it's not about you going to see, like Jeff said, 5 different specialists, because you're not an ears, nose, and throat. You are a spirit, mind, and body. And in order for you to be well at this stage of the game, you have to connect it all together, but correctly. So I admonish you to get a hair tissue analysis so you'll know what the proper diet is for you. And the lab puts together the minerals specifically for you. So I want to take the guesswork out of the how. So as a naturopathic doctor and a wellness coach, I teach you how through the unclocking process. Get the assessments, start asking the right questions, and connect with yourself on all 3 levels. Because again, you're not an ears, nose, and throat, you're a spirit, mind, and body. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you, Jeff, for setting this up for me so eloquently. I salute you guys, and I'm so glad we're on the same team.
Yeah, because teamwork makes the dream work, and we don't all answers collectively together. We can give a holistic approach. So, like I said, she needed no introduction. Dr. Reed always really gives us that totality of looking at yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Love how you opened up with broken heart syndrome, because that exactly, when I read those stats, the first thing that came to my mind wasn't physical fitness, but emotional sickness. That we've been so traumatized by so many different opinions. That's always CEO of your life. Who's in your boardroom? Who are you allowing to speak into your spirit? Who are you allowing to kill your dreams, to cause you to have confusion over your identity? Because you talked about how we allow other people's opinions and men are in the same. So I believe that God put me on this earth to shatter the men are this, women are that, to say we are different, we're designed differently, but we're similar in the sense that men are suffering traumatically, silently, dealing with the same social repression, oppression, to say down, don't be, like Jeff said, don't be emotional, you man it up, toughen up, don't share your emotions. It's killing our relationships, it's destroying our hearts, it's killing our relationships, whether it's parent, child, whether it's sibling relationships, because we're taught not to be our authentic selves. We're taught to put on masks and keep your mask on so you can be told whatever regime is out there to control you and whatever mission they're on. We're being controlled in so many different directions and by so many different people with so many different agendas. The important thing that I will say that we're hearing constantly when it's important for you to get in touch with your psyche. The only way that you get in touch with self is to be by yourself and ask those tough questions. Don't be afraid to ask yourself the tough questions, because you are by yourself. No one's there with you. So to turn on devices so no one's recording you or anything like that. But have the self conversations. There's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. And again, I'll say this, there is nothing wrong with answering yourself, because you need the answer, right? You don't ask a question and don't expect the answer. Journal your process, journal your journey. That's the ask and answer part of it. Journaling it. Speaking things out loud. I know, Tiffany, you go through affirmations. Tiffany does this whole tapping thing that you get rid of those energies, regain. You are the CEO of your life. And this show is called It's Your Life, Own It. We want you to take back. That's what it means by take center stage. Don't get on center stage. Take it. Take center stage and own it. And so I know this gentleman right here, he is no joke. And you can see it on his face during all the interviews. He's like sitting there, he's ready, he's looking, and he's ready to give us that wealth of knowledge and that groundedness that speaks right to you have full authority to own your life. You can navigate through people's no's and you can thank God for their yeses, but you can get around it. And this gentleman will tell you that he has a boot camp that we do with our Own It family. And it is extended to those who are connected with Own It. And he really pours out his heart for us so that we can wake up and get to a place that we're whole, healthy, and I'm going to, without further ado, Mr. Ross, you got to come off mute.
It is always a pleasure to be with this group and the subject matters that we talk about. And as I'm sitting and I'm listening to what each person has to say, I'm like, wow, they said what I was going to say. And when you have such a distinguished panel, it's like, okay, so what can I cover that hasn't been covered, right? But I think what I'd like to contribute to the conversation is that we need to seek balance. We need to seek balance between the head and the heart. If you're making nothing but logical decisions, you're going to have troubles in life. If you're making only emotional decisions, you're going to have trouble in life. The trick is in that personal growth and development is how do you get the balance between the head and the heart so that you can make decisions that are going to give you that nice wave in order to get through life. And the other point that I want to stress here is visible and invisible. There's the visible heart where we can, through technology, see the condition of the heart. But then there's also the invisible, which is what happens with the heart in terms of the spirit and the emotions. And those effects, even though they're invisible, can become physical. They become visible. So stress is invisible, but it can manifest itself to show up in a very visible way. So, we do a lot of talking about things that we can see, but we don't talk about the things that we can't see. And the things that we can't see has an impact on our lives. So, I'd like to again stress balance, that we're looking for the balance between the heart and the head. We're looking at the invisible and visible and the invisible. And you always hear me talk about interconnection as a holistic coach. We can talk about any subject matter we want to talk about, but everything is its own separate entity, but everything is also interconnected. So that, as Jeff had talked about, the head is connected to the heart, which is connected to the gut. We can have isolated conversations about each one of those areas. But at some point, we have to have the discussion of the interconnection between each of those areas. The advice that I would give to people that are listening is to find someone on this panel or someone like the folks that are on this panel that can help guide you through that process. And it is a tough process. And if you think that you are exempt or that you can do it on your own, you're lying to yourself. And we get into the truth versus lies, right? We need to tell truth, the positive energy, lies is the negative energy. And it's all a process. So we can't exist without each other. We're social beings and we need to connect with each other and learn from each other and support each other. So if we're going out there and we're trying to do it alone, you're setting yourself up to fail, and you're setting yourself up to move at a very slow pace. Um, so again, to the listeners out there, look at the truth of where you are and where you want to get to, and then reach out and ask for that support to help you get there. And I just want to put this out there because it's something that I've recently realized. I always wanted to live. I always said I wanted to live life, a long life, but I wanted to live a long, healthy life. And I'm just coming back from Asia, where, Jeff, the food is excellent there. It's real food. Tiffany, people are into moving. I walk 5 to 10 miles every day out there. The nutrition, people, I mean, it's just a whole different experience out there. I loved it. But it makes you look at life in a totally different way when you get outside of your own bubble and you start to experience. But my point being, in that trip, most people thought I was about 45, 50 years old. I'll be 63 this year. And it's because I'm paying attention to the stuff that I'm eating, staying in motion, making sure I'm getting the right rest, making sure to drink plenty of water, and paying attention to what I put in my body and not. But I'm living. I realized recently I'm in old age. People go, "Oh, you're not old. 63 is old," because again, we go back to truth. 63 is old. If you go from a spiritual perspective, God gives us 70 years. If you happen to have the genes, the genetics, and you're doing the right things, you might get longer than 70 years. So really, age 35 is midlife, but we tell ourselves 50 is midlife. So, it depends on how you want to look at things. And for me, I'm old, but I'm a healthy old person. I want to be older. I want to get into my 70s and into my 80s, but I want to do it the way that I'm doing it, by listening to people like you. So thanks for letting me join you guys. It's always a pleasure to have these conversations with you.
Well, I'm going to correct you because you're not old. And when you think about biblical age, those people were 976 something years old. So we're actually young. We're still babies. And that's the misconcept we bought into. But see, we're not. Like, I don't see myself at 50. The only reason why I even connect with the 56 is because that's the number of age I am. But mentally, emotionally, and drive-wise, I am so disconnected from that number. It's just a number that classifies me as to how long I've been on the earth. But I'm going to tell you, I'm ready to do cartwheels, backflips, and everything else. So as I get myself back where it needs to be, whatever it can remember, because the muscles remember, this girl is going to be remembering it. When you guys get here in April, I'm not going to do one cartwheel. I'm going to be doing a lot of cartwheels. And you can call me immature, childish, whatever. But that's what is in your spirit. And that's what people need to come back alive. Teresa said at the top of the show, we forget to be kids again. I want to do flying Dutchmans on the trampoline. Forget it. I'm riding horses over here. I am living a life. I am reconnecting with my childhood because we left some things back there that we need to go back and get. And so you are young, sweetie. You ain't old at all. Don't accept that. Do not go quietly into the night, because that's not our portion, right? And my girl Lulu, who colors outside of the lines, will tell you. So Lulu, share what's been on your heart as you've been sitting here waiting patiently for your turn up on the mic.
Oh, wow. This has been phenomenal. And to all of my esteemed colleagues on here, oh my goodness, you guys. And I'm kind of like where Nathaniel was, it's kind of like I'm thinking, okay, she said what I was going to say. He said what I was going to say. So now what am I going to say? But as I was actively listening, I want to first say that everything that has been stated, I want our audience to understand that this is critical to you living a life that I call it in one of my teachings, a bright, shining life that sings to your soul and it gives you joy. It allows you to operate in love, light, peace, joy, ease, and flow. So everything that you have heard, it is so important. I can also say that the beautiful part is that everyone that has spoken, I literally had to go through that process. So when Tiffany talks about her journey, the things that she's talking about, she's right. Been there, done that. When Teresa speaks, when Dr. Stephanie speaks, when Jeff speaks, it is so critical. And I can remember going to the doctor one time and I could not understand why she was obsessed with my gut. Now, this was an integrative doctor, not totally a naturopath, because you have to have a team. There is no one size fits all. I just want to prepare people for that. And you have to be patient and it takes time and it's work. So I had different experts. And I had an integrative doctor, somebody that could write a prescription because it's something you need in the moment. It's not for you to stay on it forever. The key is to go to the root and get you well and get you healed so that you come off of it. So sometimes they put you on something so they can kind of save your life in the moment. And when she was obsessed with my gut, one of the integrative doctors, and I was just like, what is she so obsessed with my gut? What does my gut have to do with anything? And I learned that it breaks down. You can be the most healthiest person. You can be a vegan, a vegetarian. You could put supplement. You can put everything in your body that is literally perfect. But if your gut can't properly break it down, you're just setting money on fire. Just imagine you go, instead of going and buying these things, you might as well just go and set your money on fire. So everything that you've heard them say, I've had the tests that Dr. Stephanie talked about. And believe you me, the insight, when you see these reports and you see all of the things that are going on in your body. So I would just say, listen to what everyone is saying. Sit down and build yourself a sheet of what do you need as a team. We all have to have a team. I have a team, and I have a person of a particular discipline in that team. And that's the team that I go to for my overall well-being. Because here's the thing. We're talking about the heart this morning, and many cultures view the heart as a symbol of the soul and the seat of our essence. Now, just that holistic connection, guess what? I talk about radical ascension to the next dimension. Those two connections, those are dimensions that emphasize the importance of maintaining heart health so that you can have a harmonious life. And I tell people all the time, you know what? I know it sounds good. Oh, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go to my highest self. I'm ready to ascend. But if you have not taken care of these components, you're not ready to work with me. I'm sorry, you're just not. So I'm one of those people that I find myself recommending people. I think you need to see a therapist, a real psychotherapist. I'm not a psychotherapist, but I'm an active listener and I'm certified in behavior analysis and coaching. And so when you go, and I'm talking about you go through the years of study and education and learning, and when you are a certified behavior analyst, you can watch and hear, and just from having people take their little assessment, you know if they need to see Jeff or Stephanie, or if they need to see Tiff or Teresa or Nathaniel. You're going to know when you hear. So I guess what I'm saying in this last piece is, I want to say to my colleagues that are certified coaches, behavior analysts, those things, make sure that you understand who your client is. Make sure that you know whether or not you can discern, and you know whether or not they are operating in fight or flight. That's a real condition. And if they're in that place, you may not be the person to help them in that moment because they're not ready for you yet. Now, I don't know why I'm saying that, but it's in my heart to say that we have to operate as a team in our heart. Team makes the dream work is what Marisa says. That has to be in your heart. And if we are not willing to operate from our heart, we're not going to do the right thing when we see someone needs help in one area and we don't point them in that direction. And I say this because I'm the person that operated in fight flight almost my entire life and didn't realize it until someone was able, that had the expertise, pointed that out to me. My CRP levels, which stands for cardioreactive proteins, they were always off the meter. But I had to have someone that could help me go to that level to figure out why that is. I had to have somebody to help me figure out how could I be operating in my gifting in ministry, but yet there was a part of me that wasn't 100%. Where was it? What was the root of it? So I encourage our listeners, whomever you are, get the help that you need, and don't try to give people help that you're not an expert in. Because if you come to me, I'm going to tell you, honey, you're not ready to go to the next dimension yet. Let me push you over here. But if you're ready to radically ascend to the next dimension, that's when you come and see me, because that is where you will learn how to take all of this healthy, well body, mind, spirit, and heart. And you know what I do? When you're in that place, I help you unlock your superpower, because you're limitless at that point. But I can't get you limitless if you're not dealing with all the other ash and trash. And that's it.
Listen, ascending to the next dimension, I am telling you, this is, and it's coming up, and it's heart is integrity too. Heart is moral values. It's our moral compass. And it's so important to operate in integrity. That's operating from the heart. We talk about in Own It magazine, leading with the heart, and why that's so important. And again, it goes back to vulnerability, being honest, connectivity to your people. We talk about that in this month's issue of Own It. I want to say this, because this woman right here, her and I are just loving it, because when we talk about the heart, it takes heart to live the life that you really, really want to live. We could talk about it. We could talk about our dreams. We could talk about our aspirations. We could talk about all of that. But to make the decision to actually go after what's truly in our heart, and that in a way that everyone else has to see it, and judge it, and have their criticisms, and have their naysaying, and this, that, and the other, and questioning, is internationally. It takes heart to leave your country and go to another place and establish yourself. And so this is my girl, Sabine, who she is going to talk to you about the importance of just having the heart. Have you ever thought about having the heart to live internationally? She is our guru here in the Dominican Republic. Sabine, share your heart with the people this morning.
Good morning, everybody. I can only confirm what everybody was saying, because I am always a hard-working person and with a lot of stress. And I really had to listen to my heart and do what I was always dreaming of, and that was living where others go on vacation. And yes, it's not easy. It's not for everybody, probably, because you really have to go far out of your comfort zone. But sometimes you just have to take this heart of you and just throw it in front of you and just follow it, and just get your mind off and just do what your heart tells you. So this connection between the heart and the head, of course, it will always be there, but you have to listen to your heart also. If you want to get to a point where you are happy and just get out of the circle where you feel worn out, burned out, so you just sometimes you just have to follow your heart.
Yeah. And so listen, Sabine, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what that means to live here in the Dominican Republic. We know on the moto, I went out this morning to go to the gym, and I'm looking up at the sky and how the sun just sits on the sky here in the Caribbean. It's different. There's a different vibration here. There's a different energy. And it's not about living fancy. This is not the energy that we're talking about. We're talking about energy that gets rid of the anxiety. And what we say here is relax, chill out, tabi in, all is well. It's that kind of vibration that is here in this area, in this part of the world. And many people may find that same vibration in other countries, but what we know is what we're finding here, right, Sabine, in the Dominican Republic.
Exactly.
And so share with them that experience. What does that feel like, being able to go outside? You're right next to the water, not brown water, blue water. So
it's just great, because here you probably work the same hard as somewhere else, or maybe even harder. But first of all, Dominicans are very laid back people. They don't get upset for nothing, so they are very, very laid back. And then also, the minute you are off work, or you can take an hour, or just don't work, just go to the beach or just look up to the sky, and you can even sit on the beach everywhere and work. So work is still working, but it doesn't feel the same. It's so much more relaxed. It's just, I don't know. I can't even describe it. It's just wonderful.
yeah,
You don't feel stressed.
And so it is. It's amazing, and it takes some time getting used to, but it's worth it. It's worth it in the end, especially if we talked about middle age and what's next for you. If you don't have those obligations, which will keep you tied to where you are, and you can get up and go and relocate. Your kids are grown, they're out the house, or children, and you want to make that move. Talk about getting rid of the stress and anxiety. Going to another place always does that. You don't have to move permanently. You can also have 2 dwelling places. You can buy some property here in the Dominican Republic. There's Dominicans that live here in the Dominican Republic and buy vacation spots right here in the Dominican, because see, they don't have to cross the sea. They don't have to get on a plane. They don't have to do anything to go to a vacation spot, get a bus and ride over to where they want a vacation. So they're big on doing that right here within the country. And so, Sabine, just share with them how they can get in touch with you if this is something that they're interested in, if they have the heart to do it, or even considering it, how they can find out more information and feel a little less anxious about the move. How can they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me through my profile on Instagram or my webpage. And I'm always here for you. You can ask me everything you need to ask. And I know it takes a while to, get back from this stressful life and worrying all the time and getting used to the manana mentality here. But as Marissa said, it's worth it. So you can reach out to me anytime, whatever you need, I'll be here for you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and we're just going to have to wait till next time. But I believe that in the midst of all of this conversation and dialogue, there was a lot of tips, words of wisdom, insight, expertise that grab hold of. And you really don't want to miss out on watching this from the beginning to the end because there was such a wealth of knowledge and encouragement and empowerment that will get you through. The biggest thing, and I'll say this, and I believe that it's a common thread among all of us, is you got to get away and you got to get by yourself and you got to get connected with yourself. And once you get that connection with yourself, you can come up with some goals that are really directly connected with where you really, really want to truly go. You'll be able to create an action plan of what you can start beginning to do next. But that's mind and heart, getting away from your people, as the Bible says, get away from your kindred, get away from your people, get away from the noise and reconnect with self. That I believe is the beginning point. And as we are still at the top of the year, start your year off right by taking time alignment with your true life's assignment. And so I'm thankful to have all of these wonderful SMEs with me. You know how to get in touch with them. I always say, just Google us. If you Google us, you'll know who we are, what we're about, and how to get connected with us. Teresa Ann Palmer, you can Google her. Tiffany Para. Teresa is all about the heart, cardiology. Tiffany is physical fitness, Phoenix Fitness Magazine. Jeffrey Berger, you can with that holistic approach from health to wealth. Nathaniel's the same thing, health to wealth. It's all about personal development with Mr. Ross. Lulu Brown, coloring out of the out of the box, out of the lines, ascending to the next dimension, being radical in everything you are, and tapping into and releasing your brilliance. Sabine is having a heart to live abroad or even invest abroad. And so you want to make sure that you one of us, if not all of us. And so we can help you through this year. We can help you through this process. The one thing about Own It is we are a family. We are a community of support. So you're never alone when you come to us. We're always here. We're very, very supportive of one another. And we believe in long-lasting relationships. This is not a hit or miss and one hit one and that's it. No, this is a lifelong relationship that you will have entering into this family in whatever capacity. We love you so very much. Just tap into and get connected with your heart this year. Take care and be blessed. We're out.